on the phone with Michael Emory of TVOI News, and he is on scene, and you're in Burns, right?
I'm in Burns, Oregon, that's right. We're about 30 miles away from the Malheur Range area.
How many miles?
About 30 miles. It's just right outside of town. It's not very far. It's kind of out in the middle of the range.
All right. I would like to ask you a couple of questions, Michael, about what's going on in the situation in Burns at the moment. One of the questions...
There's quite a lot of information. Go ahead.
One of the biggest questions we have for you is if there are government agencies and militarized police units in your area. What organizations from the government are their representatives from?
Well, here's the funny thing. You don't see a hide nor hair of any cops around out there. There's been people are going in and out of there. All right, media's walking down and having crumpets of coffee with them. The HBO is embedded down there. Media's all over the place. And the mainstream media is trying to say it's a bunch of militia, armed terrorists, just concerned citizens that are out there, and they had to do it at first with guys and they protected, yes. But it's not what everybody thinks it is.
Right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
As far as the officers, the law enforcement go, they closed all the schools down. They need one school as a tactical place to coordinate. They got it blocked off with police line tape around it because people have found it out. On top of that, the city halls are closed and we can get any business done, so it's kicked off the community. And then they put threats out there that they don't follow through. Yesterday they put an alert that they were going to shut down the roads. They never shut down the roads. How are they going to do that with this being almost a Woodstock of media? Matter of fact, there's Pete Santilli. I need to talk with him. Pete Santilli's here. There's Al Jazeera. There's ABC, NBC. It's just a carnival.
Right, but there's nothing. Nobody's posting anything.
Well, we can't post anything because we're absolutely blackballed. We're censored to the highest order I've ever seen or have ever heard. No YouTube stuff. Our Facebook we can't share. The only thing we can do is put some stories out, but that was just, we had our website taken down and got put back up and Matt Worley, said he'd never seen anything like it. Including my phone. I took pictures with my phone. All the pictures and images are black. And when the rally was going on and everything, I had the whole footage of the day stolen out of my camera, and I don't know how it happened.
Unbelievable. So you do. Well, that was one of the questions we're going to ask you. Is if you have identified like agent provocateurs within the ranks.
Here's one of the biggest problems. Everybody's trying to point out agent provocateurs, but I understand how that works. And it isn't a front face of an individual that thinks that he's an agent provocateur, that he has a mental, it's almost like MK Ultra, but what it is that somebody has an advisory behind that encourages them for something that they want so bad to overlook common sense. So it's beware of your counsel. This is how PSYOPs works, and it's very sophisticated and very long thought out.
Right, that's
somebody that is a wind-up to it. But yes, it's the federal government stopping this situation by hook or crook, and yes, but it's not a direct asset as much as it is somebody that's a wind-up to it.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much being played out like fourth-generation warfare or asymmetrical warfare?
It's pretty much being played out, and it happens all over the world where you work within what's in the mind of the people and what's in their passion, get them an emotional response of desperation, and that's what's happened with Bundy. I was embedded with the 3%ers as a journalist, but I knew that this was the program that they wanted to present to the people of Harney County in a vote. That's what I thought. But then I heard a few things that I didn't like, and I was trying to get some intel, and I was privy to Bundy wanting to do something like this, but not like this. So operatives within different groups make sure I was not around to get that information. But,
all right, so is anyone else having trouble with getting communications out, whether by phone or by live stream or internet, or is that a pretty widespread problem?
Well, we had a problem with the video uploads for YouTube. I'm not blocked, but what it does is when I try to upload, it'll start off at like 24 minutes and then it'll be 24 hours. It'll just sit there and spin. I don't care where I jack it.
Is the same thing happening for other journalists that are on scene?
Potentially keeps having the fee dropped and he has to pay for a higher fee. But he's more, it's kind of he's a good guy, but he's sensationalized and he's trying to get the information out. So thank God for him. But all he's talking about is, hold on a second.
All right, we're still on the phone with Michael Emory. He's got an urgent situation that he's taking care of. Hopefully he'll come back in just a moment.
That's okay. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the scenes. Okay.
All right. Are there any children still on at the Mauer site?
Yes, there's people coming in and out, and they're coming in for supplies, and they're getting eggs and whatever else they need. Okay.
All right. I'm asking if there are children there because of Stuart Rhodes' urgent message that went out last night.
Oh, there's a gal and she got her little baby that comes in and out. It's not like they think. And by the way, I like to put an announcement about Stuart Rhodes. At the very onset of this, we had a lot of people coming there, and the narrative wasn't about the Hammonds, it was about the Hammond case, and he would not listen to us. He would not address that there was a safety committee that was asking for help for protection so that they could do a common law graded jury. And Stuart Rhodes disavowed that. He was privy to it, and instead he became the provocateur to put disinformation out, and is right now continuing to put disinformation out. So who is Stuart Rhodes? He is not a note keeper. If anybody, is a plant victim, because maybe he's lost his mind, because he's doing the most disservice to the oath keepers that anyone possibly could, and the most damage. Because if it wasn't for Stuart Rhodes, there would have been double the amount of people here, and none of this would be happening right now.
All right, and the whole thing is really all about the constitutionality of government-owned lands and the constitutionality of armed forces from the government trying to squeeze out rightful owners of property, mostly because they've sold the land to China and has minerals and natural gas.
I'd like to get Vicki Davis on the phone because she's the expert in what the real issue is about the land. Do you got a second, Vicki, to talk to him on air? Sure. This is Vicki Davis.
Hi, Vicki. This is Ted. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, who am I talking to?
This is Ted Metz.
Oh, Ted Metz, and you're on the air.
Well, no, we're just doing a recording. We're pretending we're live on air.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, do you have any questions in particular? Or?
Well, the question is, why is the BLM and the federal government trying so hard to take the land away from these rightful owners? Because that's really what the issue is all about to begin with.
Well, on the surface level, the reason that they've used is that those ranches are next to the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge, and the federal government has been trying to expand that refuge, basically, taking county land out of productive use and locking it up as locking it up in a national park or a refuge or a reserve or, whatever name they happen to give it. But the idea is to lock up land and take it out of productive use. And in the outlying areas, like where the Hammond Ranch was, or where it is still, but probably won't be for long, those areas are where the cattle ranches were. And so that's why the BLM is the lead agency in what has become systemic abuse attempt to put them out of business so that vets can acquire the property and expand the refuge.
Well, what's the ultimate goal of expanding the refuge? Is it minerals or natural gas or something else?
Well, if you look at all of the materials, it's to preserve resources for the future. I'm sure you're familiar with Agenda 21, Sustainable Development. Preserving resources for future generations. It's part of the cult of what I call the eco-terrified. They want to lock up all the resources and preserve them for the future. But what we found out recently is that this area, there is a great deal of mineral wealth in the ground. And so it's kind of looking like what the feds are really doing is attempting to acquire areas where there is wealth, because any area where there are a lot of natural resources, whether you're talking about timber or minerals, that you mine or that you excavate from the ground, that's where real wealth comes from.
Right, and I had read a mineralogy report for that area being rich in uranium, platinum, gold, silver.
Right. And so these ranchers apparently have been sitting on, essentially, a gold mine of natural resources without realizing it. And so what the BLM has been doing through systemic
harassment. Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yeah, harassment is exactly right.
Yeah, harassment and abuse of the regulatory authority. They've been basically putting ranchers out of business. And the Hammonds have seen, I forget the number of ranchers that have been put out of business, but every time a rancher goes out of business, the BLM acquires the property and adds it to the reserve. Well, they've basically isolated or surrounded the Hammond Ranch.
Yes.
So that the Hammonds were the last ranch standing.
Well, that's pretty much the same situation as the Bundys. And that family in New Mexico with the gold mine.
Exactly so. And it's happening all over the West. Because traditionally, in the rural areas, people live on the land. They work the land.
They're good stewards. Yes.
Went for timber and farming and all of that stuff. Well, with the feds' land grab going on, they are trying to basically depopulate the West.
Right.
And push all of the people from the rural areas into the cities.
Yep.
Because the cities, of course, are easier in the cities. People are easier to control, and that leaves all of the wealth in the rural areas to the network. I have to call it a network because I have studied the organizational structure and the relationships between county officials and the federal government. It is a network that is essentially the shadow government.
Yep.
But that leaves the wealth, once they push out as many of the regular people as they possibly can into the cities, then that leaves the wealth of the nation in the western states in the hands of this, what I consider to be a corrupt shadow government.
Yes, and on that note, Vicki, can you get me back to Michael?
Sure.
Thank you so much for the update. Hey, Michael.
So, all of that cleared the air, and there is something added to this. The people have already set up a safety committee. Okay, and that safety committee was to give power of enforcement for a citizen grand jury to come over the investigation of the Harmon case and expand from there. That's what this has all been about. And however they've done it, they've tried to turn it away from that. Right now, they're going to have a community meeting, and the sheriff has announced that no media or any outside sources can talk, and that the citizens that want to talk have to sign up. They basically are going to shoot who talks to jive the narrative.
Right. And then you got the Delphi technique where they have people in there steering the conversation.
Yes. You've been through that a lot. And what it is that the boss hogs out here, this is so much like open ranges, that the boss hogs that have been endorsed criminals to allow them to get the scraps off the public here, the sheriff before was horrible. They finally had to remove him because he just got too greedy. So they they didn't elect the sheriff, they appointed him. And he is just some yes man that would do whatever they asked.
Jeez.
Okay? And that's what they have. And the people, I talk to everybody, and they are sick. They're trying to support these people out here, but they don't have a voice because anybody that's a business owner better not speak out of turn.
Jeez. That sounds like the Old West.
It is like the Old West. This is no different than, if I could call all the professions, all hands on deck to come into this area for the support of the people of Harney County, you would get such a massive response from this community, it would change the face of this nation.
So I did see some interviews, and it seemed like most of the community didn't want their faces shown, but that they were all in support of what y'all are doing. And that's one of the main things is that they didn't address the redress of grievances.
Well, the people that did are being, they're just being shown inside. This is a small community, okay? And the person that owns the Safeway has been demonizing the people with the community of safety and everything else, and nobody in the local community wants to shop there. Look, remember in the movie Open Range where two brave souls came in there and said, we're not going to put up with this, they're going to go up against the sheriff, and the whole town nervous meeting and stuff, well, that's my son and stuff. This is exactly the same. You might as well say the modern era of Open Range. That this is no different than that movie, just in the modern context, but with the big boss hog federal government pounding on top of everybody. And this is that they use this area because they've gotten people subservient and bullied and threatened. There's been a lot of cases throughout that. There's a guy that set off some firecrackers and they charged him for terrorism. He's just kind of a local citizen guy, and he got his hurt to be
Hang on a second, Michael. Okay, say that again, please.
I said there's a guy here that was charged with terrorism
for lighting off firecrackers.
Well, it caused an acres fire, and so they charged him with eco-terrorism.
Oh, my God.
This is going on all over the place. It's gotten out of hand. And the people here are just, there was 30 ranches that went down to where the standoff is to talk to him and find out what they can do to try to get a grasp of what this is about. But somehow, this message about what I'm talking about has escaped him, and he's on to other things. His advisors, his counsel, is what's misadvising him right now. All right? And that's the problem.
Right, because the focus really needs to stay on the constitutional constraints of the government.
Right.
And how they've overstepped and need to be reined back in.
Well, that's what it is, and that's what he started off to do. But somehow his counsel has steered him into this direction where we had victory Saturday with well over 300 people, and half of the town people were parked in their cars watching it and celebrating. People were crying. Okay? And at the very end, Annie gets up and says, we've taken this area, follow us. We're taking a hard stand. And everybody's going, what? Even the 3%ers thought he wasn't going to do something like that, that was something we were going to bring up if the people wanted it. And so we all felt like we were suckered. And I got to say, I support the reason why they did that, but I don't support the time. And I want to support those people out there, but I wish that they would keep talking on the issues. I went down there to try to talk about these issues, and it was pushed to the side. Okay? And the rangers were trying to find out what's going on, and there was some common sense bits about different things, but it wasn't concrete enough about how you do it. They're talking about what the rights are, but how do you do this? And it seems like when I try to talk about how you do this, they push me aside. So I don't understand. This is the truth. This is what's going on.
So there's a problem with understanding how the law works and how to make the law work in your favor.
Well, I think that I think that there's a direction of how you apply it. Sure, we've got all these legal instances, but all we have to do is do what we started to do, which he put forward on the safety committee, and how you form a committee of safety to protect the jurors so that you can open up a case and even open up an audit of all fines, fees, and levies, or whatever is coming in. And if they don't do it, you have the authority of law to arrest.
So this is
that's all this is.
You mentioned earlier that this is about trying to establish a grand jury.
That's what the goal to this is to establish a jury system for investigation to criminality within their local government, with the power of the force of arms like a police department if necessary. No different than our founding fathers. And that is a proper recourse that people can accept. If you have evidence of a crime and they will not address it, then you take it to the people's court and you do a proper trial. And you investigate it. If they're found guilty by the jury of their peers, you can put arrest warrants, summons, everything. You just take your courts back. That's all this is. And everybody keeps spinning off on one way or another instead of looking at the application of it.
Right, because we're doing the same thing here in Georgia. We're trying to regain access to the grand jury system. And
well, you don't have to ask the King's Court. See, this is where everybody misses the boat. They read the professorship of everything else, but how our founding fathers did it is they went and did a redress period. They didn't listen to it. They have open criminality that everybody agreed with enough to get petitions signed. They bring it back to the safety committee and say, we need power of arms of enforcement to this so we can protect our jury system against these people that potentially committed a crime and to do their own courts. You don't need their courts. Their courts are corrupt.
Oh, they're totally corrupt. We know all about that.
Courts and ask for permission.
Correct.
That's what this is about. And we need to quit spinning it off to confuse people.
Well, that's why I'm asking these questions to clarify, because, of course, the mainstream media and other people who don't understand the real issue are distorting it to be some sort of a patriot standoff. But I don't know, they're kind of like labeling wacko nut jobs when it gets down to it. It's a bunch of reasonable men trying to enforce the rule of law.
That's basically what Bundy's trying to do. The only problem he did is somebody, because he wanted this to happen so much, said, look at all the people this year, let's do it now. Instead of doing it the proper redress of grievance way. That's his only fault. The people would go along with it. I've talked to many people that said, yeah, we can take her. The ranchers are even in favor of doing that because they want to open the range back up. But his counsel, Bundy's counsel, this advisor, I was in place as a man and a reporter to make sure that this was handled properly so that we can make sure that the people are comfortable. We're not here to hurt them, that we're here to help them, and we got their confidence. And yet confidence was shattered because of what Bundy did.
All right.
And it wasn't all right. And that confidence is still here, though, by the people. They want what we started to do. They're begging for support by the militias to give protection for the jury system. That's what they want.
So they want to reestablish law and order.
Yes.
It's all about law and order.
It's about equal justice of the law.
Equal enforcement of the law. Equal protection.
Yes. There's so much crimes that have been committed by these council members and commissioners and sheriffs and investigators and all this other stuff.
It's a nationwide issue.
Nobody knows about it.
It's a nationwide issue also. That happens in every community across the nation.
Maybe this is an example for other people to lead by to do it right. And what I would like to say to everybody out there that's listening, you have crime in your area, you get the consensus of the crime, you get a petition breach, you get a redress of grievance, and you apply that to the citizens trial by your peers. And all you got to do is look how our founding fathers did it. There's no difference between what they were faced with and what we're faced with. And that's as simple as it is, folks.
Well, Michael, I really appreciate that. I know you got to get back to minding the store there in Burns, Oregon. So we'll let you back to it.
Can I put a shout out for a little bit of support though, because we need to stay here? Is that okay?
Yeah, shout out for support. And how can we get support to you? I'm sure it's dollars, cents, as well as snacks and socks.
We just need to support your troops, folks. We hate gas for money, but we got hotel stays and gas and everything else. We need a computer system. So what I would like to say is that you can, excuse me,
there's a donate link on your site, right? tvoinews.com.
Okay, what you need to do is just go to the Voice of Idaho, to our website, and there's a donate button on the front page. Click on it and donate $1. Anything. Okay? And if you can't get to our news, if we can't get to our news agency, then you can go to the PayPal account, which is Mike78050@yahoo.com. Okay? And if you want to, I can even give out my phone number, which is 208-473-1450 if you need any other information for us to help you in your area and stuff. I'd be more than happy to help.
All right, Mike Emory from the Voice of Idaho News. We really appreciate the update, and we'll get this out ASAP.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Mike. Bye.
Bye-bye.